So, Susan, how does it feel to be the most talked to person on the planet?
It's a little odd, actually. You know, when I first found out years ago, it was kind of creepy, and I did not speak to Siri myself. It was just too weird to have my own voice coming back at me. I talk to myself enough as it is.
So how did all this happen?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how my voice was chosen, when or by whom, because Siri was not actually created by Apple. It was created by 3 engineers. So it could have been these guys that chose my voice, could have been a team at Apple, or could have been Steve Jobs himself, because he was very involved in the development of Siri.
So you had gone in to do some voice work.
Right.
And tell me, for people that don't know, how voice artists work. You record a whole bunch of things, correct?
Yes. Actually, you know, these days and for many, many years now, most of us who are doing it professionally have our own booths at home. And so all of the Siri stuff was basically recorded from my house. And to a company called Nuance, which was a text-to-speech company. They do a lot of GPS voices and that sort of thing. And yeah, I thought I was just doing some more, you know, phone-type messaging. And then all of a sudden, a few years later, boom, there's Siri.
So how did you find out?
How did I find out? A friend who is a fellow voice actor emailed me and said, hey, we're playing around with this new iPhone app. Isn't this you? And I went, really? So I went on the Apple site and listened.
So you were the original English-speaking Siri, but there's other Siris around the world.
Right. There's a process called concatenation. When the recordings are done, after the recordings are done, technicians and computers go in and extract sounds, put them back together, and those sentences are what become, you know, Siri's answers. So it's the programmers that determine everything Siri says. But during all those recordings, we're just reading all kinds of crazy things to get all the sounds in the language. And so, you know, basically the voices, we had really no idea exactly what we were doing. But in order to make the concatenated voice sound more natural, of course, they would have to have the native, a voice actor who was a native speaker for whatever, you know, country the phone was going into.
So you're a musician at heart. How does voice work differ from being a musician?
Well, it's definitely related. You definitely, you know, you're using your voice and you have to learn certain skills for certain things. But I got into voiceover because of music. I used to sing a lot of backup vocals for people, and I sang lead on a lot of jingles and things made for radio and TV commercials. One day I had sung on something and the voice actor didn't show up to read the copy for the spot. So the studio owner said, Susan, you don't have an accent. Come over here and read this copy. And I went, oh, I can do this. Yeah. So
and then a career began.
Yeah, it was sort of a very happy accident.
So when I think of Siri, I think of this quirky personality. Does that mirror yours?
Well, I don't know. You might, you know, you might say so. Yeah.
Very coy sometimes too.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, she's pretty funny.
Give me your take on just the type of jobs that are out there for people that do what you do.
Well, there are a lot of opportunities, and because of the technology, there is a lot of competition too. Because basically, you know, if you have an iPhone, a mixer face, and a microphone, and a closet, you have a recording studio. So, you know, anybody that really wants to do it can do it now for a fairly, you know, reasonable price. And so there's a lot of competition. As with everything that was, you know, instigated by technology, you know, just the widespread use of internet and everything, it's up to the individual person now more than it was in the past. In the past, you'd have an agent who was your advocate,